understanding. I'm done. Okay. I'm off. I don't like you.
Okay, well, that's fine.
In this video, you're about to watch a British reporter completely dismantle a Trump loyalist so badly that she walks off live on air. Let's get into it.
I've got to turn now to, as promised, to Dr. Jan Halper-Hayes, former global vice president of Republicans overseas, as an advisor to Donald Trump's 2017 transition team. Dr. Halper-Hayes, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Do you understand why so many in this country and in Europe more generally would have seen what happened in the Oval Office as an attempt to humiliate President Zelensky and be repulsed by it?
Well, if they watched all 53 minutes, then I don't think they would have that feeling. If they saw clips of it, which of course will be clips of J.D. Vance and Trump being very angry with Zelensky, then of course they would come to that.
Could you imagine President Trump speaking to, say, President Putin in that way? And isn't it precisely the point that he wouldn't, that is part of the problem?
Well, if President Putin pushed him the way Zelensky pushed Trump,
what did Zelensky do? What did he do that was so egregious in your view?
Well, one is that he started litigating the 2014. He said, I don't want a ceasefire.
He said he wants peace repeatedly. He just doesn't want it on Russia's terms, which you'll understand because Russia invaded his country.
But he said, I don't want a ceasefire. He made that comment to Trump.
He said he doesn't want a ceasefire if he knows that Putin is just going to renege on it a couple of months later, which is fair enough, isn't it? Because he's done that repeatedly, you will accept.
Exactly.
No, not exactly. I mean, the point is that, of course, anyone wants a ceasefire, but there's no point having a ceasefire, is there? Which is what Zelensky was saying to Trump, if Putin is just going to renege on it shortly afterwards.
And Trump was saying, how do you really know? I mean, if you're really coming from that position, that no one can guarantee anything. But if you don't move forward to get something into an agreement and then be able to put the right security.
But what has Putin said that gives you or President Trump any indication at all that he even wants a ceasefire? Putin has said he doesn't want a ceasefire at this point.
Putin is... Look, I'm not here to have an argument because you clearly have a position that I don't agree with.
What would that be? What would that position be?
Well,
I mean, we would both agree, wouldn't we, for a start, that Putin started the war?
Yeah, what I would say is that Putin legally violated international law. Morally, he thought he was right, and strategically...
But you would agree that morally he was wrong?
I know I would not agree morally is wrong. I would agree legally he was wrong.
You would agree, you would not think that a man who literally, as we speak, still sends drone attacks to kill Ukrainian civilians is morally wrong?
Oh, and you think that Ukraine isn't doing anything to the Russians?
Ukraine didn't invade Russia. Russia invaded Ukraine. That you wouldn't agree that was morally wrong? Okay,
all right. You know what? That is 3 years ago.
Right. So if we were sat in 1942, would you have been on the radio going, "Look, don't worry about it. Hitler invaded Poland 3 years ago"?
You know what? I didn't sign on for this hypothetical discussion.
It's not hypothetical. I'm just trying to tease out the logic of what you're saying, Dr. Halper-Hayes.
One is that James Baker and Thatcher and Mitterrand and Kohl, etc., had promised that NATO would not move 1 inch eastward, and that was violated. So you want to look at all the different people that violated their agreement?
When did America start basically just sort of representing what Moscow thinks? Those countries wanted to be part of the NATO club. Your club. Are you saying that they should never have been allowed to exercise their democratic and sovereign rights as nations and join that club?
Oh, God. You know what? I don't like having my words twisted.
No.
I really don't.
You don't like? Well, but that's the point of an interview, isn't it? Is to discuss what you're saying. And I'm just asking you. You're saying, with respect, Doctor. I'm just trying to understand what you're saying. You're saying that those countries should never have been allowed to join NATO, and then we wouldn't have been in this situation. And I'm saying to you that surely those countries should have been allowed.
I didn't say that. Well, see, that's why. No. Hold on a minute.
But you cited what happened in the. So you're saying that it's fine for them to join NATO then?
I didn't say any of those things, and I don't like when someone tries to give words and interpret without understanding. I'm done. Okay. I'm off. I don't like you.
Okay. Well, that's fine, Dr. Halper Hayes. Maybe some of the listeners won't like you, but that's fine. I'm entirely indifferent to that. I'm very grateful for your time. Dr. Jan Halper Hayes there, former Global Vice President of Republicans overseas. Apparently I'm not going to be on her Christmas card list. Maybe I will be with Oliver in Harlesden, though. Oliver.
Wow. Honestly, fair play to Lewis. That was genuinely entertaining, but more than that, it was revealing. Because once again, you see the same pattern play out in real time. These Trump loyalists, these MAGA defenders, they're perfectly comfortable repeating the same recycled talking points, often straight out of Moscow's playbook, as long as nobody seriously challenges them. They sound confident when they're uninterrupted. They sound certain when they're allowed to monologue. But the moment real pushback shows up, the moment someone actually follows their logic and asks them to defend it, everything falls apart. And that's exactly what happened here. Every question Lewis put to her was calm, measured, and reasonable. There was no shouting, no theatrics, just logic, just follow-ups. And yet, with every question, you could see her confidence drain away. She wasn't clarifying her position. She was scrambling. She wasn't explaining. She was retreating. That's why this moment matters. Because this isn't about one guest walking off an interview. It's about how fragile these narratives actually are when exposed to scrutiny. The moment the conversation stops being friendly, the moment facts are introduced, the moment moral accountability is required, the whole thing collapses. This is the kind of journalism we desperately need more of. And I'll be honest, watching this only reinforces something I've felt for a long time. Too many figures in the U.S. media environment are allowed to go on air, say whatever they want, and leave completely unchallenged. The questions are soft, the follow-ups are weak, the contradictions are ignored, and as a result, bad ideas are allowed to sound credible. Lewis didn't do anything extraordinary here. He simply refused to let nonsense slide. He refused to accept vague answers. He refused to let history be rewritten in real time. And that alone was enough to completely expose how shallow these arguments really are. That's why they don't like pushback. That's why they play the victim the moment it happens. And that's why moments like this stand out so much. Because when accountability finally shows up, the performance ends. Let me know what you thought about this interview. Did it hit the same way for you? And if this is your first time here and you're interested in clear, direct commentary on American politics from a UK perspective, hit the subscribe button. I'd love to have you as part of the community. I'll see you in the next one.